Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means.
I sure do.
Might be. Well, you might not know because it's been a hot 2 months since we did the last show, of course, but...
It's been 2 months since you looked at me.
Not true, but all right.
Yeah, okay, it's that time again. It is time for round 107, Get Organized.
Insert credits. Welcome, everybody. I'm MrBond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Vlad.
I've got Vlad here. Welcome, everybody. Insert credits. Podcast where we talk about video games. Do some news at first, then we listen to some tunes. We talk about what we've been playing since last time, then more tunes, and then we do some design at the end. It's always a real good time. Let's start off with some housekeeping. Round 108 will be coming up in February here. This, of course, being the first show of 2023. The one in February will be number 2 for 2023, but also round 108. That looks like it's up for the 10th. I forgot to send out the invite for it. That's why you don't see it. Which means we can then look forward to round 109 in March.
Ooh.
Baby. You're seeing the same thing I am, aren't you?
St. Patrick's Day.
Like
Let's do it.
17th seems pretty good.
It is the third of 5 Fridays that month.
Oh, boy. Okay. I see round 109 on... Ooh, not R09. That's pretty good. 109 on the 17th of March. And then I guess we can look forward to 110 in April. Looks like either the 14th or the 21st.
Let's call it the 14th.
All right. 14th it is. Seems good.
In case anybody cares about Easter.
Nothing happens to cancel any of those. Because unfortunately we did have to skip the show in September, and then we had in October, then we had the show in November, and then unfortunately I fell ill for the show in December.
Yep.
So we canceled that one, unfortunately. But here we are in 2023, brand new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully the year has been treating you well so far. We are about 2 weeks in. It's been going okay, I suppose. Not really much to say about it personally, but there's a lot of year left to us here.
I was gonna say I'm bracing for impact.
Unfortunately, that's how we've been trained the past 2 years. Is that hey, New Year, things are gonna get better, and no, then it ends up not being the case. But whatever the fuck, you just gotta deal. There is one more bit of housekeeping that I want to bring up. I'm working on a new static website for all of our insert credits stuff.
Ooh.
I got sick of looking at the old one and just being there and being just samey and not updated for the past year and a half. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do something new. So there's a new site coming eventually. I'm working on it right now. It's not going to be fancy. I intentionally kept it very minimal because I don't want to treat anybody to a heavy ass website that doesn't do much. This is just going to store the insert credits stuff, give you the recordings and the show notes and all that, and it should be fun. It should be nice and slim and run fast and all that sort of thing.
Is it going to give you a cookie pop-up?
No, it will not give you a cookie pop because there will be no cookies involved.
How about trackers?
No trackers, no JavaScript at all, in fact.
Yes.
It's going to be just plain ass HTML.
Okay.
Yep.
It doesn't even have to be HTML if you don't want it to be. You could just have plain ass text.
That's true. I mean, you could pull up a good old links browser or something and go to town like that if you'd like. Whatever. But it is just, straight up plain text, I suppose, served. So,
woo!
Use it as an opportunity to learn a different tech stack too. So there's always a silver lining to these things. Okay, I guess that does it for housekeeping. Let's move into some news. I kept a couple news items from ostensibly what was supposed to be our December show because these are good and important and cool, and I like good and important and cool news. And this is actually the namesake of the round, Get Organized. So a couple excellent pieces of news regarding game workers getting organized and unionizing. First up, QA workers at ZeniMax, which is now a subsidiary of Microsoft because of that whole purchase thing, have voted to unionize, joining the ZeniMax Workers United Union. Nice. Awesome. Good job, everybody. Also, QA workers at Activision Blizzard Albany have voted to form a union. They are starting a new one called Game Workers Alliance.
Okay.
All right. Good job, everybody. With you. Get organized. Get power, man.
There's a storm pun in there somewhere. Blizzard.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, Albany is probably known for its blizzards being up on the East Coast-ish area. And you're thinking about steamed hams, aren't you?
God damn it. Yeah. I'm so predictable.
Yeah, I know. But I watched a couple variants of that the other day too.
Oh, okay. I haven't
A couple
seen
that
in
I
a long
had
time.
not seen since it was the big thing not too long ago, apparently. But it's one of my favorite things to have become a meme, and also one of my favorite Simpsons skits to begin with. So it's there. But anyways, yes, good work on Activision Blizzard Albany and the QA workers for ZeniMax. Get yourselves organized. Less exciting news: Ubisoft has canceled 3 more unannounced games. Don't have titles for them, obviously, since they're unannounced. Following up some unannounced games that they had canceled not too long ago. It brings the total up to 7 so far recently. As well as delaying 3 other titles: Skull and Bones, which is a piratey themed game, and the next iteration of Assassin's Creed, entitled Mirage, as well as Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, have been pushed back. That kind of sucks. I mean, I'm not huge into the AAA space, so whatever to me, but it's not really great to see delays and pushbacks and all that. Although I do hope this leads to not crunch time as they finish these things up.
You know what they're coming out with, though.
What are they coming out with?
It's going to be Assassin's Creed and Rabbids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's all I got.
I see.
Best joke. Yeah.
I mean, you know.
You say
What was
Ubisoft,
that?
and all I can think of are the Rabbids
Yeah,
games.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like,
Yeah.
that's a
And
connection
it was
to have.
yeah, what a great thing to be known for. Anyway,
I mean, I think people largely enjoyed those games.
did they, though?
I don't know. I wasn't my thing, but I think people thought it was, cute and creative and clever and all that, and people were really into the Mario Rabbids crossover thing, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
See, like, you say Rabbid, and I think of the Princess Peach Rabbid, and then I just shake my head and move on with my life.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. Anyway, hi.
some people are into that crossover stuff, and sometimes it works pretty well, but speaking of crossovers, there's a new Dead Cells DLC coming out in 2023 here, first quarter.
Okay.
Castlevania!
Really?
Like a legit license from Konami Castlevania DLC for Dead Cells.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like it would fit pretty well.
Oh yeah, it surely will. And the team behind Dead Cells, Motion Twin, have been really good at doing that stuff. So I'm excited for it because Dead Cells is one of a pretty damn good game in my opinion. So
I want to
to
see.
get around to playing that one. It's been sitting on
you
my list
should.
for a while.
I want to see Belmont and Sypha and more Sypha.
In the launch trailer, they had Trevor and Sypha.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's so good.
Fighting Dracula, so it was
Okay.
funny as hell.
Dang.
It's like, damn, it's legit with that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's actually really exciting because like Sypha's usually the one who just like doesn't get any attention at
Right?
all. Oh, Sypha's such a good character though. All right, cool. I'm
She
excited
is.
now.
Well, if you think that, then you should actually watch the Netflix animated series of Castlevania.
Really?
You really should. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's like okay, so generally any sort of thing based on a video game franchise series, whatever, there's an extremely low bar to clear, right?
I mean, Uwe Boll said that.
Right. I mean, and it's borne out mostly history. But the Castlevania animated series is pretty good.
okay.
It's pretty good. Like there's one scene that I could have taken or left, but the rest of it was very excellent. So go watch that if you have access to it, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. That might be a thing we could watch during dinner time.
Sure, I know like none of the lore, but that's fine.
I mean, Dracula's family goes into Dracula's castle, kills Dracula. Oh no! That's the game.
Hijinks ensue,
Yeah, pretty
that
much.
sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Clock towers, though, best parts of every game for the people who aren't playing them.
Right. Yeah. Fucking clock tower.
Uh-huh.
Sony has announced that they are starting to work on an accessibility-focused controller. Project Leonardo is what it's called.
Okay.
About
good.
4-ish years after Microsoft's well-received take on the accessibility controller, I think is just what they called it.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, adaptive controller.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so far, it looks like the design is up to 2 segments of a very like radial major controller. You get in a circle and like 8 buttons around the edges, plus a analog stick located in the thumb region.
Sure.
Plus a couple 3.5 millimeter connectors to each of them that you can hook up other accessibility focused controllers too, and kind of
Nice.
passed it through.
Okay, cool.
Full remap support, all that sort of thing. So that's cool. Looking forward to it. It was just an announcement, though. They didn't really have anything to show or announce to release or anything like that. So here's hoping they follow through. But it's good to see more of that stuff kind of on the map and coming up.
That reminds me of, I think it was AGDQ 2018. In the practice room, everybody got one individual button, and we did a speed run of Octopath Traveler.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was the boost button, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what your strats are, and I don't know how many times to push this. They're like, go, 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 and I'm like, ah!
Did you use the boost to get through?
Well, he had to.
Good.
It was literally the strat. I just didn't know how hard to boost.
Oh, man. Never not boost. Always be boosting.
There you go. Oh, shit. This is Bravely Default, then. Oh, sorry, that's Brave, but it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same mechanic.
Oh,
worry about
okay. Yeah. I get you. Yeah.
Hi.
So our favorite vaporware of the Duke Nukem series has another little wrinkle to it.
Okay.
We all remember Duke Nukem Forever, right? About how it was coming
Which
out
one?
and then not coming out. Oh, any of them. The main one, the OG one, the original one that they were hyping up forever but didn't never materialize.
Wait, is this news that we didn't talk about already? Because I
Correct.
swear this came out like 3 months ago.
No, this is new.
Oh, okay.
This
Well,
is new.
hot dog.
Yeah,
Let's talk
right?
about it like it's new.
So an early 2D prototype
Uh-huh.
of
Okay.
Duke Nukem Forever was leaked recently. It looks like a very crunchy late DOS game, which is
Okay.
not necessarily an insult, because I remember very fondly those side-scrolling platformer action-ish games of the DOS era, and most of them worked pretty well. This one looks okay. As Duke Nukem, and Duke Nukem really kind of thrived on the 2D action platformer scene in the DOS era of things.
Sure did.
And Duke Nukem 3D was very popular as well in its own right, of course. But apparently this is a very early prototype of Duke Nukem Forever and side-scroller action platformy goodness. Interesting, I suppose. Probably better received than Duke Nukem Forever proper, whenever that was leaked and or sort of released. However many years ago that was. I'm sure we talked about it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's an interesting little reveal this past week or two.
Really?
Yeah. Did you hear something else about a Duke Nukem Forever, like in recent
Yeah,
past?
like the leak happened more than a month and a
Really?
half ago. I'm fairly certain because I remember reading
Let me,
about it.
let me look at. Oh, I guess it's labeled 2022. So late 2022 at the very least.
Oh,
yeah,
well, hey.
last week of 2022.
What the fuck? Time is weird.
I know,
I
right?
swear I read about this
know.
like early December.
Oh, there was an interview with one of the developers who had talked about the origins of the 2D version, but the prototype itself was never leaked until just recently. I think that's how it went.
Okay,
At least
whatever.
according to this article. I don't know,
That's
man.
fine. Whatever. I'm just a dog. But
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting shit.
huh? Was there any head ripping action? Anything like
I'm
that?
sure there was a lot of ripping off of heads and shitting down necks and balls of a certain metal and all that. Yeah, and in typical Duke Nukem style. But
Alloy.
interesting stuff. Interesting stuff to be sure. So NVIDIA's GeForce Now is probably one of the longest running streaming game streaming platforms now, right? You would think.
Given that it's one of the few to survive,
Right.
right?
Everything
Right?
else has been collapsing. Stadia got closed down. OnLive never really took off.
Nah.
And all that sort of shit. So it should come as no surprise to all of us that Valve and NVIDIA are partnering up a little bit to make GeForce Now work better on the Steam Deck.
Okay.
There's
That's
been
fine.
no mention of a native app for Steam Deck. In fact, the NVIDIA reps have been pretty clear about saying, oh, use a Chromium-based browser and everything will work fine. And, you know,
That's everything but one browser right now. Ain't two browsers.
right?
Sorry.
Yeah, I know, but...
Well, three.
So it's good that they have a way to do it, and it's interesting to hear this partnership kind of officially announced.
Uh-huh.
And I'd be very interested to see what they do as far as a native app, which I hope is coming soon, but they haven't said anything about it. And this kind of comes a little bit on the heels of Razer's announcement of their dedicated streaming platform handheld thing. I forget what it's called. I'm sure they've got some dumb name for it. That is very much a Switch and or Steam Deck form factor with the two handles and the screen in the middle and the whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I wonder if it has anything to do with that. But from what we've heard of GeForce Now is that it's a not bad streaming service, and the fact that it still survives to this day is kind of a testament to that.
I suppose.
So we'll see how this goes in terms of how much traction it gets. And you would think that with NVIDIA and Valve both kind of putting their weight behind it now, it might do something. So something to look forward to, hopefully. Perhaps not. I'm not the target market for it because I don't really cotton to the idea of streaming games remotely from the cloud because I've invested a lot of money in my in my local setups, and the Steam Deck is no exception. That's not a cheap piece of equipment, to be sure, but I can definitely see the use case for it, especially if you do want to run like some of the super high-end AAA stuff on Steam Deck that doesn't quite do very well.
I just realized that I haven't unboxed mine yet still.
Dude, come on.
I found it, though.
It's a neat piece of kit. You should unbox it. You should tool around in it a little bit. It's cool.
I need to... well, foreshadowing a little bit, I need to buy the Steam version of Slay the Spire so that I can lose my life. Yep.
So, I don't know if you saw, but Linus Tech slapped an M.2 heatsink on the back of a Steam Deck and got better FPS out of it.
No way.
Yeah, they like cut the case open and
Wild.
It reduced the temps by like 10 to 12 degrees.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it's a pretty funny one.
Which
to watch.
was kind of hilarious, and they actually did a good job of like getting accurate measurements and tolerances.
Well, they have a proper labs team now, and that's helped their technical content quite a bit. Honestly.
Yeah, no, it was real good.
Yeah, it does get a little toasty, I'd say. But it does a pretty good job of keeping itself cool, too. I think you can hear the fans spin up, but generally it's not obtrusive or anything.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's cool.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that video yet, it's actually impressive. So, props. Instead of just actual props.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. There's still warnings going around about some of the magnetic docks messing with the fans and causing overheating issues. So apparently we haven't learned that lesson yet. There was already one of those accessories, it's a pretty well-known one, I don't remember the name, that had done a full recall after learning about that little debacle. But there's also another manufacturer that has done the same magnetic type thing that fucks with the fans, and not great. Could cause lasting damage. All right.
Okay. I'm going to interrupt with one thing of mine because it's relevant.
All right.
So, speaking of overheating.
Okay.
So, the PlayStation 5, now that they've finally started to actually catch up with demand, now they're having another source of rampant hardware failure. So, the folks who have their PlayStation sitting like this, you're golden. The folks who have it sitting like this, the CPU gets hot enough to actually melt the thermal compound between it and the heatsink. And the thermal compound, liquid metal, is melting onto the main board and frying the damn thing.
Oh, no.
Because it's conductive.
It's so good. I had to laugh. It's the best. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to people who've had this happen, but this is recall worthy, so you should at least get your shit fixed. But
that's not good.
yeah. So hopefully Sony has a lot of B stock.
So here's my curiosity with that whole weird shit happening on vertical orientations thing. Was that ever proven out on other consoles that was a problem? Like there was always those urban
problems
legends
with vertical on at least with 360s. It was always disk drive.
It was the
optical drives. Yeah.
Scrape the crap out of your discs.
Yep.
I had never heard of that happening on the Wii, though.
No, but Wii was always kind of designed a
they had
lot
a slot
better
drive.
in general.
Well, it wasn't a tray, right? So
they actually thought of that, unlike Microsoft. Yeah.
I love slot drives, but they're such a pain to fix. But
they
like
are, kind of. But
the Wii was just magnificent. Like
that's a
compact embedded hardware that just does its thing and
feat
never
of design,
dies
for sure.
Yeah.
So like slot drives are great because your target audience is young children. You can't shove a sandwich into a slot drive as easily, at least.
As easily, right.
So yeah. But really though, like
fewer moving parts.
Yeah.
I mean, or fewer exposed moving parts, I suppose. You still have the mechanism to actually grab the disc. But
let me just grab my cane. You remember CD caddies?
Uh-huh.
I remember.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. God,
and
those are
CD
great.
Towers and yeah.
We recently watched a nice video about refurbishing a 100 disc changer.
A 100 disc changer.
CD
Yep.
changer.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It just rotated
It was
in
what,
a
like a
circle,
Sony?
and yeah, it was a Sony.
It was
Wild.
it was a carousel with all the
Belt-driven?
discs on edge,
Yeah.
and they were like, central. Yeah,
Oh,
It was actually
okay,
really
yeah,
pretty,
right.
but yeah.
huge.
Like the jukeboxes of old with the
Right,
okay.
yeah.
I get you. Wild. Well, you didn't really interrupt because that was the thing before you mentioning the PS5 was my last.
Oh, well,
so
that's
please
convenient.
proceed.
All right. Well, speaking of other things that are overheating.
Oh no.
Yes.
So Zen 3 or 2 CPUs inside of the Xbox Series S and X and the PS5. Is it Zen 3 or 2?
I hope it's Zen 3, but it's probably Zen 2. You know what? We can look this up.
Either way, something that AMD made overheated again. Gasp.
Series
So
X had overheating issues. I
no,
wasn't
the
familiar.
PS5 did.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm gonna not.
Zen 3 CPUs.
Oh,
It is
thankfully.
Zen 3.
Okay, cool. So another new product that they came out with. They're very top of the line graphics card right now. The 7900 XTX cards. People have been writing them and asking, "Hey, is this supposed to get this hot with T-die temps?" It's getting to be above 100 centigrade normally.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah, so temps of up to 115 have been reported. And obviously, cards don't like that too much.
No.
So there's some word about. Yes, they were Saxon. They're like, yeah, this is normal operating spec.
they
Just don't touch it.
They refused to
No
couple
liability.
RMAs, and
LOL.
people went to the internet with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so their thermal pads or whatever it was just didn't really make great contact. Shockingly.
Yep. So it's
Yeah.
it's a dimensioning issue, and there's just slightly too much space for the thermal pad to make effective
No, that was an
contact
actual AMD response because these were all reference cards.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had heard that they had not filled the vapor chamber with enough coolant to manage this as well.
Maybe that was
don't
part of it
believe
too.
that's
Maybe
the
they're
case.
related or different issues, perhaps.
The word on the street was the dimension was just a little off
Wild.
with the thermal pads, and
That wasn't
that
making
it
enough
could,
contact. Yeah.
I see.
much like the PlayStation issue, could be impacted by orientation of the card in your system, because if
Right.
the
Yeah.
heat sink's hanging off the bottom
Yeah,
of the
and then
PCB, you open up that gap a little bit. But
Yeah.
Huh.
yep.
So I was waiting to see if I would start hearing rumored support inside of macOS for the 7000 series cards. Be like, things got a lot better this generation for both AMD and NVIDIA, and I'm just kind of like,
A lot better. Well, okay, maybe not on the
Performance-wise?
hardware.
Yeah.
Really?
oh, compared to last gen?
Yeah.
Aside
you
from
just-
the obvious
least on the
thermal
AMD
issues,
side.
apparently.
Yeah. I mean, the only 6900 XT that I could get my hands on when I bought it was one that came with a water cooler already attached.
Oh shit.
So I was like, oh, cool. I don't have to worry about that. And so
Well,
far I haven't.
I am looking for one of those in the modern generation then. So I've yet to find, since EVGA is no longer making NVIDIA
Yeah.
cards,
Rest in
Yeah.
ripping EVGA, I am looking for an AIO type thing for an AMD card
Oh, well,
for an upgrade
peace.
here.
Well, yours isn't an Asus, so they may do another generation of that.
I wouldn't be surprised. The AIB cards ought to be coming out now, I think. There's more
Soon.
than just reference models for the 7900 series, right?
Yeah,
I thought so.
I would hope so. Yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah. Anyways, that's kind of keeping my eyes open for it. This,
Yeah.
This 1070 is getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, it's fair. Let me know how that goes once you do find one. I'm kind of curious, but I can't spend money on PC parts right now because I'm a homeowner.
Oh, well, yeah. That's how that goes.
Bum, bum, ba-dum. Yeah, exactly. So today's a special day, obviously. It's Friday the 13th.
Yes, it is Friday the 13th.
You're not going to say it?
No, I'm not.
MrBond and I are now the same age.
Yeah.
We're half
I
dead.
feel like dust.
Yeah. But apparently Friday the 13th is a special day inside of NetHack.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know this until today. So NetHack will change the difficulty of the run if it begins on a new moon. It'll make it much harder, especially around midnight, because undead things will do double damage, etc.
Yep.
And if it's a full moon, you actually start with +1 luck.
Yep. You feel lucky tonight or something like that. Yep.
Yep. So,
Wild.
yeah, there's all sorts of interesting stuff, but also Friday the 13th. But also, the effects of the lunar cycle can combine with Friday the 13th, and one such event happens this year in October. So
All right.
October 13th, you have a new moon, and it's Friday the 13th, so you're doubly unlucky.
So an especially good day to play NetHack.
Yes,
Oh,
for
good.
challenge runs.
At midnight, preferably.
Yes, as you go into a graveyard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, apparently the chance of catastrophe, rather, pun. There are such events like your pet cat got smushed by a molder. That just happen. Boulder. Yeah. So Saxon, do it, and I want to watch.
God, a tourist.
Yes, I really need to
no.
see this. This has to be a stream.
A low dex tourist, so you trip and fall down the stairs and get killed.
Yeah, it's just like real life.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Trip and fell. Yeah, exactly.
Go Team A.
So the full moon buff will get canceled out by the Friday the 13th debuff. But those seem to be less common than lining up with the new moon. So there's a chart of like
Interesting.
17 dates since the release of NetHack that this actually happened for both the new and full moon cycles. So
Wild.
yeah, I just learned about that today. I was like, wow, that's actually
Yeah.
relevant and really cool.
I knew about the new moon and full moon ones, because those were not terribly rare. Obviously, it happens twice-ish a month. I didn't know about the Friday the 13th one.
Yeah, so apparently when you walk into a graveyard normally, you get an uneasy feeling. But when you walk in on Friday the 13th, it's run away, or something like that. Because, yeah, you're going to get slaughtered. Oh, also on full moon days, were animals are more likely to be in their animal form. And apparently you can talk to vampires then?
I think you could talk to them regardless. Are they like neutral and they won't attack you type things? Or...
Don't know. Shrug. Oh, and wild dogs have a chance to howl when you talk to them on a full moon. But otherwise, if it doesn't proc, they're at least pacified.
Interesting.
Why not?
Huh.
Yeah, there's all sorts of interesting effects here. So
Yeah. NetHack is well known for it. It's actually one of the major spawns of the devs think of everything, because there's so many weird interactions of stuff that you would never ever either know about or know how to trigger unless you looked it up or accidentally stumble across it.
I know one random ass word because of Saxon having played it, and that's Elbereth.
Elbereth, yeah.
Yeah. Which apparently now has been really nerfed.
It was
I guess.
nerfed in the most recent kind of major-ish release, yeah, because it was too strong or something. Like, I always forget to use it. How the hell would I know?
Yeah, Gotta draw it in the sand with a wand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use a wand of lightning so it lasts forever, or a wand
Because
of
you can
digging.
scorch the ground. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Damn, I really want to watch people play NetHack. Like, I think it's a little too much for me to, like, really grok all at once, because it's like, oh no, a bunch of symbols. Fuck.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's I can't, like, I respect the hell out of people who play like the OG ASCII character set or whatever. Now I use one of the ports with the actual tile set.
Okay.
Because otherwise I would have no idea if that little A coming towards me is something I should be afraid of or something I could squash.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if I got into something that actually, like, labeled what things were, I'd probably be a little more willing.
Yeah, Vulture's Eye is a good variant of it.
Yeah, that one's the isometric
Kind
one,
of
right?
on the same
Very cool.
scale as Dwarf Fortress with some of that stuff.
Yeah, so I've heard. But NetHack, what a great day to play NetHack. So go do that. That could be your whatever birthday game, I guess.
Yeah, I can get pissed off because I die constantly.
Yeah,
Great.
what's new?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. One last thing that I have, and it deals with RPGs. It's angering fucking Hasbro.
No.
Yeah, so Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast now, which means they own the intellectual property for Dungeons and Dragons. And they decided that they wanted to amend what they call the let's see here.
Open gaming license?
Yeah, OGL, yeah. I was conflating it with the other one. They wanted to add a version 2 of that, which would retroactively affect anything that was inspired by D&D
or based on it,
and charge them royalties. So anything including Pathfinder, for instance,
or Critical Role.
Yeah, basically any like production that was inspired by D&D, which is a thing. So Paizo is the publisher of Pathfinder. Pathfinder is known for being very community friendly. I mean, they have the PFSRD website. You can literally look up all the rules there on the website in plain text almost.
Hooray!
It's real great.
Oh, you mean it's not a bunch of videos?
No, it's not.
Good.
It's easy. It gives you good search results on like a lot of sites. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. Pathfinder, especially V1. But Paizo, obviously being largely affected by this proposed change. It hasn't gone into effect yet, from my understanding. But Paizo decided that they were going to create their own license called the Open RPG Creative License, shortened to ORC. Love it.
I get it.
In response to all of Hasbro's bullshit, that license will have no real owner or maintainer. It's just something that a lot of publishers are starting to sign on to, be like, yeah, we want community involvement. We want people to be inspired in creating their own content, modules, even other games. And yeah, so a lot of people obviously affected by open gaming license bullshit, not open at all, are signing on to this thing. So I really, really, really hope that this is a trend.
I think the naming was predated the whole Hasbro ownership thing to begin with.
Well, it
the
did,
issue is that they were trying to update it to make it not open.
Yeah, because, well, Hasbro is a company in a capitalist hellhole and now wants to monetize as much as they can, including shit that happened in the past.
Which, I mean, it's questionable whether they'd actually be able to pull that off, but they also have, the funding for massive teams of lawyers, so...
Right.
Let's burn through all that money that they'd be getting just to spite everyone else.
The upshot of this is that the backlash was swift and powerful, and in fact, as of today, they are already backing off some of the most egregious changes that they're making to the OGL.
Oh, it's another one of those bots. Could you nuke it,
Oh,
please?
goody, yes, I shall.
Yeah, okay.
They seem to have been in greater numbers lately on Twitch.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, honestly. Right, bye-bye.
Wow.
So yeah, anyway, so there's been a huge amount of backlash to this already, and they've backed off some of the most egregious ones, which is good. The system works, I suppose, sometimes. So we'll see what they actually end up trying to commit to.
So, okay. Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast owns the Pokemon trading card game, or at least they used to. Maybe they sold it off to the Pokemon Company. But they do own Magic the Gathering. That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure does.
Huh. I didn't make that connection until now. Good fuck. All right, yeah. My personal stance on tabletop games, especially, anything that uses, like, paper rule books and stuff, a lot of that's homebrew. Like, people don't have to have actual manuals and say, like, okay, well, you gotta do this, you gotta roll this specific many sides of die and whatever else. Like, people are inspired by the things that other people create. And oftentimes, that's referred to as, the highest honor. Somebody making a derivative work of yours.
Yeah.
And I don't know. at least when we had aspirations of making games and whatnot, we wanted no DRM. We wanted to give people the freedom to make what they wanted out of it, things like that. Obviously, we didn't get our stuff off the ground yet, but I don't know. I really dislike tamping down on people making new stuff because that's really how innovation happens. D&D is on 5e right now. Obviously, it's changed over the years, and it's taken a lot of interesting direction from Pathfinder and helped make 5e more approachable for people. Like, arguably, 5e is the easiest D&D version to get into because you can just not have as much setup and just get going with stuff, and it's pretty simple. Like, you have fewer tables you have to look at. It took inspiration from other games, and it's kind of shit if Hasbro's going to take inspiration from other games and then tell other games that they can't take inspiration from them. Fuck you, pay us money. Like, I have a problem with that.
And or specifically monetize other people's work, but then turn around and say, you don't own this work anymore, this is ours, pay us.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, that's not going to fly, ever.
Yeah, as a concept, I don't like licensing. I can use this or I can't. And, yeah, but that's another Ramble for another time. Angie.
Also one that we have covered several times in various parts and pieces over the years, too.
Yeah, might go back a decade.
Every so often.
Right? Then something bullshit like this happens, and suddenly, oh, right, we remember that we're angry about this again. Still.
Yeah, which is also a reminder that it's never going to go away. It's just going to quiet down until people forget.
Right, and then they'll try it again.
Well,
and
hopefully they pursue slightly less toxic means of monetization as a result. I mean, there's certainly plenty of other things they can do to make money off of the intellectual property without...
Make good content.
Yeah.
People will pay you money.
What a concept. No. You need to make the minimum content to interest people enough to buy it. That's how you make the most profit.
Yes, it's the sparkling water of content.
Yeah.
A small hint of flavor. God damn.
You put half the development budget into the trailers, and yeah.
Oh, gross.
I need my D&D in nasal spray form. Ew. Okay, now I'm real far off the rails. Yeah, that's about all I got for that. Yeah, Angie. Cool.
All right,
songs.
That leads us into songs part one here. Let's go.
I have a news item.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, fine.
If that's okay.
Yes.
So
fine.
this is news as of like yesterday? ? Valve had a massive leak, believe it or not, of Team Fortress 2, Portal, and Half-Life content, but most notably the TF2 content. In the form of asset repositories.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Like,
Here, I was hoping that this would involve the number 3.
So this is stuff that was like, no. This is stuff that's, like bundled up to share with, other companies or external partners. But the TF2 stuff is probably most notable because there was over 60 gigabytes of formerly unreleased unknown assets from... everything from a whole bunch of maps that never got in there, all kinds of textures, alternate, weapons and cosmetics.
Next 20 years of hats.
And,
level 4 sentry that never got implemented.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like there's all kinds of fun stuff in there. So that is something that the Source Engine community at large is actively combing through. So expect some interesting... mods and content in the near future on that one.
Of things that look suspiciously official and legitimate as if Valve would have created them.
So, I just skimmed through some of it, but like there's, female versions of all of the TF2 characters. There's, all kinds of fun and wacky ideas that got partway through development and then abandoned. So,
well, that kind of stuff happens when you're developing a game, especially one that's been around for so long.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it still has the community it does is kind of a testament to how well they supported it.
Orange Box.
Coming up on 15 years now?
Honestly, yeah.
It's gotta be pretty close.
The math.
Jeez.
It was more than that.
It wasn't more.
Because I remember seeing it in retail stores when it had already been out a couple years. I think it was 2006, wasn't it?
2007.
7. Okay, in between.
Yeah,
okay.
so a little bit more than 15 years.
Actual retail box copies of games.
Right, exactly. Like wild things you remember from the past.
On PC, DVD-ROM.
Not too many multiplayer online games that have stayed relevant.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Wild.
And now digital distribution's the big thing. So,
I mean,
and leaking 60 gigs of content. Oops.
Do it
well. You know, you have people saying that this is like basically all that was left that wasn't already, out there in the public domain about that game. So,
fair enough. So now they have to release the third one, right? That's how this works?
No, that is not how this works.
No,
they're incapable of counting past 2. You know this.
Not guaranteed to work. If they tried to do it, I don't even know how successful it would be, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you'd get a lot of people bitching and complaining about it not being as good as 2 or something, and yeah.
That's
Gabe and why?
Pretty much what stopped them so far. So they make really good sequels, and then they're like, "Well, crap! How do we raise the bar again?" Yeah. Well, you make an episode 1 and an episode 2, and then you never finish.
It's the natural progression of things.
I suppose. Yeah.
Portal 3 has to be on the moon.
Or
Portal in space could be fun. You could get a lot of shenanigans going with gravity and.
Did they end Portal 2 in space? Didn't they?
Well, they didn't end it.
I mean, where Wheatley was in space.
Yeah. Spoilers, but also it's been so long that if you haven't seen it by now, then
it's not our fault.
What are you doing?
Okay, Toonskis now.
Now I'm longing for
serious
games
this time.
All right, fine. We'll get on to Toonskis.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, you're no.
Oh shit!
Ow.
The other way. There, that way.
All right, cool. All right. So, first section here. We're starting with J-Type by Nostalvania from Tetris, going into The Beginning by Rebecca E. Tripp and Stephen Higby from The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and ending this section with Sovitus by Eino Cascatalo from Final Fantasy V.
All right, on to segment 2, where we talk about what we've been playing since last time, which happens to be 2 months ago because of aforementioned issues with certain shows. So yeah, what's everybody been playing for 2 months? Hopefully some stuff. Hopefully 2023 has been full of games.
I'm looking at you because you have tons.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Why are you making
so
me
many
go first?
Game Pass games. Anyway, yeah, I'll just take the opportunity to hype up Game Pass. It's real great.
Yeah,
Like you do
it's a good
every
service.
episode now.
Yeah.
What's it?
I was like you do every episode now.
It's so good. Especially when you can buy Brazilian cards to redeem for like half the price of what they would cost in the US.
Gray market,
Incredible
reselling. Gift cards.
Man, like all they do with digital delivery is take a photo of the scratch off.
What is this, 2011?
I bought 2 years worth of Game Pass for like $100, which is actually outstandingly cheap. Yeah, it's $15 a month.
Is that good?
For the value.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Like,
I mean, that's Game Pass Ultimate. That includes the PC side.
Okay.
The Xbox only stuff is cheaper.
All right.
But okay, fine. I'll stop rambling about that. I played a little bit of Slay the Spire. It is difficult to say that correctly.
It really is, isn't it? It's got that kind of mouthfeel to it. There's like,
yeah. I mean, I've been so used to calling it Spay the Slayer lately.
Oh no, that's different.
Just a little bit.
Spoonerisms.
Yeah. Slay the Spire though, what a good game. I do want to buy it on Steam. There are some incredible mods for that game, but I will also shit on the game a little bit because it's in Java.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a Java game. Yeah.
Huh.
Uh-huh. I'm not sure how that works on iOS, come to think of it. Because they don't have a JVM. So, shrug? Maybe it's cross-compiled to you. Alright, enough of that. Octopath Traveler. I have been getting a little further along in that game. I haven't played it in a while. Honestly, it's been about a month and change. Renby had been watching me go through, and I recently finished Cyrus's story. I got some badass Cyrus, me as Cyrus, pixel art for Christmas. And that was neat. I liked that a whole lot. Octopath, what a great game. I keep talking about how much I want to play Triangle Strategy and how much I want to buy the PC version, because why would I buy a Switch game if I can buy it on PC? But then I talk about Denuvo DRM and how much it sucks.
Yeah. Did they not remove that yet? Did it
No.
not get cracked and they took it out?
No.
What the hell, man?
I don't know of any games that have been able to remove it.
Well, usually... I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know if this is true, but typically what I've seen is that Denuvo makes a big show of, oh yeah, blah, 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 use this on your games, you can get more money because people don't crack it or whatever. Gets cracked either day of or the day before or whatever, and then the company removes it because it's not worth anything.
Yeah.
That's just why I'm always confused to hear about games still having it on after some amount of time.
Yeah, like, okay, for real though, I will pay you money.
Right, exactly.
If you give me a build that doesn't have DRM, please. I want to play it.
Let me pay you my monies so that I can have your products. No? Okay.
As much as I love the Switch, if you're going to give me the option to play it on a different platform that doesn't lag and allows me to play it at greater than 720p handheld and 1080p in a dock, I'm going to buy the better fidelity version of the game. That just makes sense to me because of my use case, at least.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to stream a game, it's going to be next to me anyway. I'm not going out. Whatever. Ramble time.
JRPG, the control format isn't that important either. So
No. There are PC players of Octopath that just fly through on keyboard, and it makes sense. But anyway, rambly time, though. I want to play Project Triangle Strategy. It's not Project anymore. I keep forgetting that it's Project Octopath and Project Triangle Strategy
I don't know why
when
they
it was
bothered
like
to do that.
pre-release.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So wait, wasn't Triangle Strategy something separate, or that
Triangle Strategy
Octopath?
Is in the same engine, but it's a tactical RPG.
I see.
And I want to buy the game.
Right. But yes, aforementioned issues.
And they're like, well, why don't you just play it on a Switch? I mean, that's not the point. All right, fine. I'm getting off that soapbox for now. A game that the four of us at the house played together many, many times is Minecraft Dungeons. Also haven't played that in more than a month because holidays and travel and whatnot. Good game, though. Real big fan. Oh, that's pretty. Anyway, Sage just got back from Milwaukee with a new motorcycle for cheap.
Neat.
Pretty things. That's a thing you play, right? Minecraft Dungeons. I am decent at it now. Like, at first it was one of those games, like any Smash Brothers game, where it's like, oh shit, there's too much happening on the screen, I can't see where I am, etc.
Yeah,
I still can't see where I am half the time, but I just keep mashing attack and things die.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah. So press A to not die.
Yeah,
legit.
Okay, tracks.
So that's a pretty fun game, actually. I kind of want to go back and play that some more, but lately I've just been like all up in my own projects and stuff, so I'm like, oh yeah, playing games. Oops. See, I'm like preparing to stream again, which means I should play games.
Yeah, you should just make a game your project sometimes and be like, this is for me. I'm doing a project for me and I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
Back in reality.
So
briefly
over Thanksgiving. Good, it's been a while.
Yeah, sure
The fam over at Vlad's parents' house Thanksgiving. We played D&D 5e. It was supposed to be a one-shot. It ended in the middle of Vlad's turn.
In combat.
And I was next in initiative.
Honk.
You still have 2 of 3 hits to make.
Someone walked in the front door, and it was no longer time to be playing the game.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
Eventually.
So I'm looking forward to getting back into that. It was cute. I have a jar spawn.
Gesundheit. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. Okay. So it's this 10-pound jar.
Oh.
That had murky fluid in it, and I was like, "What could possibly go wrong?" And I opened this shit.
You don't want fluid to be described as murky. That's
it
not
was
good.
described a lot worse in somewhat explicit detail, but you know, Tormod decided to open it anyways. So
and then it formed into something, and I was trying to crawl up my leg and into my mouth.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're having this argument, like, "Oh no, it should be like." Put back in the jar and you should keep it and throw it at things. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm a paladin. Should I smite? Because I detected evil on this thing and it's very clearly evil.
I see.
And I'm like...
It is presently trying to crawl into my mouth. Please, let me do something about this.
Well, that and I'm just like, paladins are horny for smiting evil. So, as you do. So that's the current in-character dilemma. That was just like abruptly cut off 2
unresolved.
months ago. 6 weeks, fine, whatever. But yeah,
holidays,
people
being busy.
Happens. Yeah. So D&D 5e, like I said, pretty easy to get into. I used a character generator, sort of. Did I? Yeah, I kind of did. Did I?
I think you used it for ideas and then...
Oh, no. I used an archetype. Right, because my character praises Huehuecoyotl, which is hilarious to me, which is definitely chaotic neutral, and you're not supposed to be able to make a paladin that's not good aligned. Well, fuck you.
Well, this one is. First time for everything, baby.
Yeah, chaotic stupid time. Let's go. So, yeah, that's been real great. We played another game at Thanksgiving, but it was like an actual game you like held, and
it was a board game.
Yeah,
without
like
a board.
You were supposed to.
It was a party game. Yeah.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
So it was like everybody had a dry erase board and a marker, and it was you take turns drawing a card, and it's got like 3 things on it, and you pick one of those things and you don't see it and everyone else does, and they have to write down words that are related to it but are not the actual word.
Yeah, and you can't double up on words. And
so
if you do, everybody or those people have to put their hints down.
Right. So then you try to guess the word after. It's just, fun little party game. I forget the name of it. But
that's the last bullet point because I couldn't remember the name. It's like it's that.
Mystery word game.
I will poke around on the internet and look for it later
That's
to
fair.
satisfy your curiosity.
I could have just
Very
asked
good.
Sarah and Brian, but they probably remember, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I don't think I played anything else. I honestly don't remember. It feels like everything's been real weird.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair assessment of the past relative amount of time.
Like, I'm like going back. Did I play anything on my PC since I wiped it? No. Did I play on any kind of handhelds? I don't think so. No phone games because I just don't do mobile games. And I don't really think I played much on the Xbox at all outside of Slay the Spire, which is a good game, but it's only one game. So, yeah, I don't think I played anything else.
Okay.
And I know you two have, so...
You played stuff. That's the important bit,
That's
right?
true. I can't tell you the last time I did, but I did.
It'll get better, maybe, hopefully.
Oh,
That's
you
what
have
I
your
always say.
PC set up now. You have Steam again. You can get into all sorts of shenanigans.
There you go. Can look at your list of things you want to try to play and then decide not to play any of them.
So, briefly, I made a Hackintosh again. So this hardware had been prior running a version of Mac OS. And that was all fine and good for the most part, question mark. So I went and did the same thing again. But you're supposed to install Windows first. Because otherwise things get really weird with the EFI, and I don't want to fuck with that
strange,
shit.
but okay.
So, whatever. So, like, as part of making a Hackintosh, you have to use a chain bootloader of some kind.
Okay.
And these days, like, the de facto chain bootloader is OpenCore. And OpenCore can see EFI files on other partitions and allow you to boot into them, so I figured having Windows on there first, so it doesn't overwrite OpenCore, etc. Whatever. So, got Windows all set up, installed the AMD Radeon drivers, and it's weirdly choppy in Windows, which is strange.
Yeah.
I'm using different scaling and different resolutions on every of my 3 displays. Granted, 2 of them are 4K, and one of them is 2K at 360 hertz, but like...
Wouldn't think that would matter.
Not really. It's a powerful GPU running at like 15 frames a second. Who gives a shit?
What the hell? Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, just when you're on the desktop, like, it doesn't have to keep rendering things.
Right. But
So
it's still noticeable, right?
Yeah,
So
it's weird. Like, if I'm,
hell?
like, dragging things on one of the 4K displays, it's kind of, like, jittery a little bit, or, like, it has a hitch. And I was like, something else is wrong with my hardware now. Great. And then I decided, fuck it, I'm going to try out the whole Mac OS thing. Really? Did you say again? Yes, again. Fuck you. This is on the same hardware that I've had since 2019. You have the same motherboard. You can do it too. Anyway, I finally figured out why I couldn't boot into the installer. I might be stupid, but what's new? I got in there, it's like, wow, this is weirdly fluid. Granted, in the installer, it only activates one display. Fine, that could be a thing.
Okay.
Instead of having to have 3 separate frame buffers, whatever. Fine. Get into the OS. By default, they're all duplicated onto each other. So all of them are running at 1080p 60.
Lowest common denominator type thing. Yeah.
Fine. I turn off the duplicate these displays things. They're all individual displays in the same orientation with the same dragging around in places for displays. And I get none of that weird performance shit. I'm running a Hackintosh. Why is my GPU better in there? Like,
yeah, that's a good question.
So I don't know. Like, I know Windows Update really likes to fuck with graphics card drivers.
Yeah, might be worth just trying a display driver uninstaller and just nuke everything and start over.
What was it? DDU was the utility to do that, I think.
Literally display
driver uninstall.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Very clever. Very good.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to do something because I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't want to install games on here. It looks like shit. So that's kind of where I'm at with that right now. But I'm rambling. Yeah, Hackintosh.
I was wondering how that was going to cycle back to you playing games. Waiting for it.
I don't even know if I've installed Steam on there yet. Actually, no. No, I did not.
Well, now you know what you're doing tomorrow morning. Anyways. Mr. Bond, what have you been playing?
Yes, a lot, apparently. So around the time of last show, which would have been in November, I was still working my way through Ghost Song. That's now been done and put to bed. Weird audio issues aside, where some of the things respected the volume controls and some of them didn't. So you'd get very sudden, jarring sound effects that are 100%, and the rest of the game is at the 20% that I wanted at because it's loud as shit, as everything tends to be nowadays. But anyways, good game. Extremely good game, very competently made Metroidvania type thing. Pretty poignant story to it, if you're into that sort of thing. And good atmosphere and good music and all that. So, Ghost Song, recommended. Go play it. Great game. Then I picked up a game that you had recommended to me, Tormod. I played Curve Space. That was an interesting game.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you sent me a little Discord message, say, "Hey, this looks like it'd be."
Oh yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
okay,
I do that
sure.
a lot, and then forget about the games.
I'll pick that up. So I did pick it up, and it was novel, to be sure.
Okay.
It was interesting. It just it tried to do too much.
Okay.
It's a twin stick shooter with the conceit of being on an outer curved surface or an inner curved surface and changing camera angles and all that shit, which sounds really cool. And it would be cool if they dialed it back a little bit. But there was just too much. There's too much camera movement. There's too many weapons to choose from. You pick one and just stick with it because it's just there's too much going on that you can hardly lock onto a good one. And
Sure.
like even at the camera settings, the camera movement settings set to the lowest values, it was still a little bit like
Okay.
not quite like physically nauseating, but definitely like, wow, this takes a lot of energy to keep up with. And then the voice acting was okay. The story was very slow and plodding, and all the voice lines had like 5 to 10 seconds of dead air between them, so you're just waiting there for it to like, come on, let's go, move it along. I got things to do here. But yeah, it was an okay game as far as things go. And I would still recommend it for like just interesting game mechanics, to be sure. But there was a lot of focusing they could have done on some of those instead of trying to do too much at once. After that, I picked up Gunlocked. This is an interesting twin stick, not twin stick shooter, where you don't control any of the shooting yourself. You do only movements, and the weapons kind of aim and fire themselves, which sounds a little dull, but it was actually very, very, very well done. Very chiptune-ish soundtrack. It sounded a lot like Mega Man, and I like me some Mega Man soundtracks.
That's fair.
So that was a very fun game. I actually managed to counter stop it, where you put the score to its limit and it doesn't count up anymore.
I get you. Okay.
So that was fun. A small indie developer called From Left Court on Mastodon. So I was like, hey, I counter stopped your game, buddy. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, we knew about that. It was something we wanted to fix after early access, but didn't get around to or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's all right. It's fun. It's fun and funny to do.
Just flexing now. It's
right.
Fine.
Yeah, no big deal. Just counter stop. So done with Gunlocked. After Gunlocked, I picked up Tormentor X Punisher. This is a game from 2017, so old. Oh, I know, right?
6 years ago.
I know, right?
Okay, sorry.
Anyway,
go on.
so I picked it up. It was one that I had my eye on since its very release back in 2017. But then other things happened, like other games got in the way, and it's just like, oh yeah, I should go play that. Oh, but there's this new one, and blah 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 blah. So I ended up picking it up. It's a fun twin stick, demon killing, go as far as you can until you die type thing.
Sure.
Where there's 2 settings for screen shake, standard and light. And even light screen shake would give Nuclear Throne a run for its money. So I tried it on standard screen shake just once. I'm just like, oh my god, I can't focus on anything here. And even the light screen shake is just like, wow, I wish there was another choice for this. It's an extremely fun game. Like I had a blast with it for a couple sessions. It's one of those very short ones, but
sure.
A surprising amount of depth to it considering. You really just have 2 weapons and then you survive against endless waves of demons and bosses and shit. That's been relatively fun. I've been playing that on and off since, really, because it's one of those very quick pick up and play, you got 2-3 minutes, go for it, go nuts, and
Sure.
then it turns into half an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours.
As you do.
But yeah, very fun game. So after that, now I'm working on Metal Hellsinger, which is a very fun game. This one was in the development around the same time that BPM Bullets Per Minute was. It's one of those mashups of genres that you don't think would work as well as it does, but it does. It's rhythm-based FPS.
Okay. We've talked about at least one rhythm-based FPS before.
Yeah, BPM Bullets Per Minute is probably the one. But this one's very fun. It's very, very polished, very pretty, good voice acting. It's not proc gen like BPM is, but it's got a very solid, single-player campaign and some offshoot stuff and some stuff like that I'm working through right now. Very difficult, to be sure, but I'm having a blast with it. So that's probably good for another couple weeks as I work up through difficulties and be like, that's another one of those where it's like, okay, that sucked. Let's give it another try, and just one more.
Yep.
The power of the one more, as I call it. So that's been real fun. SBC, Shmup Book Club side of things. Month of December came and went. That was Hyper Duel. Our pretty standard arcade shmup. Badass soundtrack for what it was. My goodness.
Hell yeah.
Grab that sucker, listen to that while I'm working. It's really good. For month of January, we have Biometal for the SNES. It's a very mean-spirited shmup on SNES. It is not.
Gasp! I'm so surprised.
Right? It is not interested in you succeeding, as most shmups are not. But it is fun enough in its own right. And also something that started up in December. Apparently, SBC has been going for 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a long time. So
good job, nerds.
Props to EI and his organizing powers for getting a whole bunch of us stupid shmup nerds together and keeping this going for 5 years. So in celebration of that, until the end of March, we've got 5 other shmups running. One for each of the 5 years that SBC has been going. So Axelay is one, and Espgaluda, and Zero Ranger, and Gigawing, and Gate of Thunder. All shmups that we played before on SBC, one for each year that we've been in, and a pretty good mix between style and platform and pretty much anything else that we got covered in there, which is pretty neat. I played Espgaluda yesterday, was terrible at it. Way more terrible than I was the first time through, but that was a control issue. It actually legitimately was.
Okay, fair.
It really was, because I had set up an auto fire when I didn't want it to have an auto fire. So I was missing half of my attack power. Yeah, didn't go great. But yeah, so that's a fun little bit going through the end of March. If you are interested in playing shmups, I would recommend joining the SBC. It's a very casual competition amongst us shmup nerds here. All it really takes is a screenshot to show that you had a score. And then you can join the call if you want. You don't have to. Just play some shmups is really the big deal of it. Oh, outside of that, on my Sunday long plays, I played a lot of Curse of the Dead Gods. I managed to get through the last bit of it finally. Oh my god, it took me a long time to do the last couple levels of it because it's so difficult. And of course, I probably could have won more often if I was not quite so reckless and greedy, but, what's the fun of that? So got through the remainder of Curse of the Dead Gods with an extraordinary run, incredible weapons, and a fair bit of luck, as you need. But it is an extremely fun game. I would recommend that heartily to anybody who's interested in very, Hades-like mechanics. Very Hades-like isometric style and weapons combos and all that sort of thing. I don't know. I find Curse of the Dead Gods mechanistically more interesting than Hades. Although Hades as a whole in presentation and story and voice acting and narrative and all of that is top tier. You can't beat it. But Curse of the Dead Gods I find just to be a touch more fun. I've also started to play Dead Cells more as well on Sunday Long Play, in part to prep for the upcoming Castlevania DLC.
Nice.
And also one of the more recent DLCs for Dead Cells does include a small crossover from Slay the Spire as well, with some Slay the Spire inspired items and cosmetics too.
I see.
That's interesting. It's very, very interesting. I did, in fact, in the space between like middle of December to the new year, I managed to pass 2 runs of Dead Cells. That gets me up to 2 additional difficulty levels.
Huh.
And oh boy, it kicks my ass.
Nice.
It is not friendly, but it is so fun, and I'm really looking forward to what they do with that Castlevania DLC. Um, Outside of that, one other thing, I think right before November show, we had started up a new multi-sync, or multi-sync, good lord, asynchronous multi-world.
There you go.
17 people, 99 worlds, 17,500 items. We are quite nearly done. We had probably mistakenly started it before the holidays in the hopes of, finishing most of it, and then holidays happened and everybody got busy, so now it's kind of getting to the ending parts of it.
That's a lot of items to work through.
It sure is. It sure is. But we're nearly done, and usually it's like 2 to 3 weeks of considering our sins before we forget the pain, and then we do it again. So, it's looking like the next async is going to be mid to late February at this point, which should be fun. It should be fun. It's always we always get a good crop of folks, some new folks, some folks who don't remember the pain, and yeah.
Well, not to volunteer, but it does seem like there's actually 2 or 3 games in there that I can play nowadays.
Yeah,
so.
there are. Oh man, there's at least a couple dozen in the list.
Yeah.
That are available, with more that just got added in the most recent release too. So
Solitaire.
I don't know what happened to that one, man. It's like I haven't heard anything about it. There's Minesweeper though.
I think I'd
Minesweeper?
prefer
Wow.
Slay the Spire.
And there's Slay the Spire, of course. Yeah. There is a Minesweeper clone that they have built into it.
Nice.
So stupid, but it's perfect. It's perfect for what it is. Like, absolutely. But yeah, I think that's it for the past 2-ish months or so.
All right.
Anything that you've got that you want to bring up here?
I've had a lot of life stuff going on outside of games, but I've also still managed to play a pretty good amount of games. So, let's see. Last night spent like 3-4 hours grinding Tetris. I've been playing plenty of Tetris Effect lately. Just we have the projector set up now, so it's nice to see it all in 4K glory on the wall. I'm trying to get A rank or higher in all of the modes. Still working on 3 of them, I want to say.
How many modes in total do they have?
Well, specifically the effect modes, there's only like 15 or 16.
Oh, is that?
But,
wow.
Then there's also like Journey on all of its difficulties, which is like the story mode of that particular game, and then they have everything else is online play, which is actually pretty fun, but that's ranked on a points system rather than letter ratings. But yeah, I'm still it was combos, marathon, and sprint that I'm still at a B in. So still grinding for that, but I did hit level 50 and unlocked the special secret level for that, so that was a good time. Aside from that, spending a lot of time lately on the Shadowrun games. Speaking of tabletop-y things, which I worked through Shadowrun Returns over the course of like 2-3 weeks. Definitely enjoyed it. Good storytelling. Definitely had more of a tabletop feel than a video game feel, but it's kind of like a tactical RPG blended with a tabletop. It was honestly, it felt more like a visual novel that happens to have a tactical RPG in between the narrative bits.
Okay.
I definitely overestimated the length and difficulty of combat of the first of those games, so I made it through the last level with all this stuff I hadn't used, and
didn't realize it was the end of the game.
Super conservative with everything because I was like, there's got to be some difficult boss fight coming, and now
this full stack of elixirs.
Should have just set it to hard. So I've been playing the next game,
Interesting.
Shadowrun Dragonfall, which they were originally released as like expansions, I guess. It's essentially new campaigns set in the same system.
With the same engine.
Same engine, yeah. But I set that one to the harder difficulty out of the gate, and that's been a lot better feeling as far as actually being a challenge. So, good story though, and it's a fun take on the whole cyberpunk plus magic universe, and doing things a little less conventionally than a lot of the cookie cutter cyberpunk dystopias. Party games wise, other than Dungeons that Tormod mentioned, grabbed a little game on Xbox called Boomerang Foo. That's a very quick, easy, pick it up and play kind of party game. I think it's up to 6 players. Well, Xbox supports 4 controllers, and then you can have, I think, up to 6 with CPUs. But it's isometric, boomerang-based combat with 2-3 game modes, very quick rounds, just a fun one to pick up and play. I picked up Citizen Sleeper again to play the latest DLC. That one is still quite good. Definitely worthwhile if you like narrative games, and I guess it's still sort of cyberpunk. It's more sci-fi than cyberpunk. I picked up Eastward, which was another Game Pass indie title. That one's been actually, it plays on nostalgia a lot, and there's a lot of nice artistic nods to classical gaming. The gameplay itself is not the strongest, but the story is pretty alright, and the art and the music and the actual design of it is quite nice, so that's kind of kept it worthwhile for me so far.
It's got its own, not really, but NES game in it.
Yeah, there's an entire game they developed that they put in the game that you can play in the game as you walk up to the game console and
and there's a story reason for why the characters are playing it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's
interesting.
Cute.
Okay.
But that's been as far as Game Pass, they don't typically have too much on there as far as AAA titles and stuff. So really it is, more worthwhile if you like indie games, but they do really put some decent quality indie games on there that are worth, spending some time on. So
yep.
I've enjoyed that so far. I think otherwise the only thing on my list, I picked up the latest DJ Maxx game. Not that I'm typically much of a rhythm game player, but it was on Game Pass, and I hadn't played anything like that in some time, so that's been fun to poke around in and be really bad at. But
rhythm games. Sorry, Saxon.
Well, once we get the VR set up someday, again, I'll pick up Beat Saber and probably spend entirely too many hours of my life on it. So,
hey, at least you'll be getting fit.
Yeah, exactly.
More or less.
I gotta get Fruit Ninja.
Oh, do they have that for VR? I suppose
Oh,
that
sure
would make a
They
lot
had
of
it for
sense.
Kinect, and that was fun.
Yeah, that was around.
So I have to
time,
imagine
wasn't
that
it?
they would have it for VR. It'd be simple.
It's definitely one I've seen in arcades as well.
Yeah. I've seen the arcade version that's basically a Kinect where you walk up and do it. Yeah. Good times.
Good stuff. All right, time for some music part 2 here, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with a remix from Diddy Kong Racing entitled Chill Beats to Race 2 by DDR Kirby Ice Q, followed by a remix from Metroid Prime entitled Gravity Suit by Outset Initiative, Joshua Duchesne, Ryan Ike, Drum Ultima, and Andrew Steffen, and then finishing off with a remix from Sonic Colors entitled Everybody Wants to Rule the Wisps by The Good Ice. Okay, coming up to the final segment of the evening. Yes, I was very careful to not let it do the meep. Shut up. Coming up to the final segment here, some ad hoc design. It's where we essentially take a mashup of genre, theme, setting, something. I don't know why I'm trying to remember it. I can just look at the dang thing. Genre, rule, setting, and theme.
There you go, yeah.
And see if we can make some cool-ass game live on the air whilst we're here. In fact, I will drag this over for you to read this off.
Ooh.
Give me something to do. Obviously, we cannot use this first one since it is the one that the page loaded with. We did not hit the generate button.
All right.
So which one are we not able to use here?
All right. Tonight, we're not able to use a game that has two genres. The first of which is open world. The second is adventure. The one rule being 1 minute. The one setting being steampunk, and the one theme being forgiveness.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
feel like it's kind of hard to make it really feel like an open world game if the rule is 1 minute.
I don't know. I think
I mean, I
Minute.
guess it depends on how
is
you
about
implement the
that.
1 minute rule.
Yeah,
But
right. Minute did pretty well at it. I thought I would not. Well, it's sort of open worldy, but not like expansive open world like we think
Right.
of open world today. But yeah, that's interesting. An interesting set of stuff. So. Here's how it works. We take this set of stuff, we try to make a game out of it. We give ourselves 3 opportunities, 3 rolls of these various things. If we get to roll number 3, that's it. We got to use it no matter what. And that's resulted in some very interesting things in the past.
Erotica.
Right. More than once. So here we go. First ass roll here. Let's see what we got.
Alrighty. 2 genres.
Oh boy.
This is going to be an FPS Metroidvania.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm already interested.
Yep. The rule is 2-button controls.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, NES style. Setting is ancient Rome.
Oh.
And the theme, which goes very well with ancient Rome, is downfall.
Oh, poor Rome.
Yeah.
That's funny as heck. Oops, I put that in as a comment, not as actual text. What the hell?
Good job.
I don't know
so
why
with
that
it being an
happened.
FPS, I'm assuming we're talking 2-button and twin stick here.
No.
Or at least one
Metroid.
stick?
Well, okay. To me, Metroidvania implies that it's side-scrolling 2D. I know that there are Metroidvania games that are in
Right.
3D, but
It's more like the hey, these areas are locked out, get some ability or
Yeah.
item or whatever and come back and explore deeper and
I guess
rinse,
FPS would
repeat.
require you to have some sort of front-facing vision.
right.
It does
Mhm, I mean,
kind of
by
necessarily imply, yeah.
definition. 2-button controls, ancient Rome downfall, huh?
This feels very Doom-y.
It does kind of, yeah.
Eh.
Like, which, hey, I'm down with some classic mythology, stuff. Like Hades did a great job with it.
Sure.
I don't know. We could definitely do this. I think it would be very easy to do. But there's nothing
Yeah.
here that grabs me as like, hey,
Yeah.
let's do something real interesting.
Yeah, this really does feel like
about
a
it,
Doom
right.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it puts itself together.
Okay.
All right,
so
cool.
we feeling roll number 2 here then.
Let's wave it away and
There we go.
okay. So we got
Second
one
set.
each of genre, rule, setting, and theme. We start with the genre of co-op.
Okay.
That's the genre apparently.
Sure, why
Alright,
not?
why
The
not?
rule is side effects. Setting is modern day, and the theme is good versus evil.
Oh, come on.
This is all very vague.
All right, it's very mainstream.
It's too real for me, man.
Open to a lot of interpretation here.
Sure is.
16 million directions you could go with that.
Side effects is interesting. Like,
Yeah.
that's the one of these 4 that kind of stands out.
This reminds me of The Good Place.
Yeah, honestly.
I don't think
I
I've
see it, I guess.
seen Good Place.
It's actually a surprisingly complex and competent show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth
we
a
are
watch.
sitting and waiting to watch the final episode,
Ah.
and it's just been like that for months.
Oh,
You don't want
boy.
it to end. Yeah, it's
Don't
fine.
worry
Yeah.
about it.
Okay, so it has ended. You just haven't
Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
finished watching it yet.
consumed the final episode of it. I see.
We were warned about the final episode, and we decided we
Oh.
weren't ready for that yet.
I
and
see.
then we decided
Alright.
we were going to move across the country again, and so we haven't been ready for that yet.
Yeah, yeah.
I get
So
you.
this really feels like that show. You have
Yeah.
a soulmate, unintended
Yeah.
things happen. It's definitely modern day, and there's a whole lot of good versus evil going
That's
on.
kind of the whole joke. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is that show in a game, and it's been done.
So
I
we're
guess.
we're risking the third roll on this, huh?
I really think we have to.
I mean, yeah, I'll trust you. Like I haven't seen Good Place, so I don't know. But
even without it being similar to Good Place, that just doesn't feel like there's enough to go on with those
Right,
to
yeah.
to make a compelling game on its own.
I require more restrictive parameters.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, here's hoping we don't end up with our third erotica game.
All right,
Here we go.
roll the die. Okay, this is weird. Oh, okay.
All right, what are we stuck with here?
One each of everything again.
Okay.
The genre is match 3.
Oh no.
What is that?
I don't really know.
Okay, like have you played Bejeweled?
Oh, I
Like
see.
those puzzle
Okay.
games where you got a grid of shit
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
match up the 3 and it goes away and then they fall down or otherwise fill in or something like
No.
that.
We're making a puzzle game.
Yeah,
Great. I love
that's
it.
what it is.
All right, the rule is start small.
Okay, fair enough. Or Starm Slam. Start
Oh,
small.
this gets worse as the words go.
Okay.
All right, the setting is antiquity.
Okay.
And the theme, oh no, it's patriotism.
Oh no.
I feel like we can work with 3 out of 4 of those things.
Yeah.
So, you know.
As we are all very patriotic people, let me tell you.
Well, so
I mean, it depends on how you define what patriotism is, right? Because
yeah.
a lot of people take it to hew very close to nationalism, which is don't do that.
Civil War. You're fucked, Lee.
I'm just gonna write that as the title so we remember it.
All right. Yeah. I knew a Puyo joke was going to happen at some point, but then it would disappear.
Civil War.
so
That
antiquity
flew
is
over
like
everyone's head. Great.
vague enough that you could define it in a few different ways, right?
Antiquity,
Like it doesn't
yeah.
necessarily have to be
Antiquity is something that has the quality of being antique.
well, sure,
Right.
but like as a setting, it's typically defined as the period before the Middle Ages, but that's in itself pretty open to messing around with.
Yeah.
You could also do, alternate history BS, so you can really
Right,
just
yeah,
go whatever
that's-
direction you want with it.
That's
Steampunk, there you go. I don't think that
That's
really
cheating.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like antiquity. Seeing as the focus of steampunk is on technology, even if it's not modern technology.
Right. I don't know. Is Victorian considered antiquity yet?
I would say so.
it's pretty old.
If it's old enough to have powdered wigs, I think that's antiquity.
Close enough.
Oh, fuck.
Match 3 starts small, huh? What in the ball? So you start with match 3 and then you work your way up to match 5? Oh no, I don't think we can do that.
God, what the fuck can we bend this
I don't
into?
know. Like,
Well, we have to.
we've
point.
got no choice. Like this
Yep.
is something.
Oof. This is the worst we've had in a while.
It's
So-
not great.
Honestly, all of the rolls tonight were just kind of...
Yeah, not great.
This is probably the most interesting of the 3 rolls.
Oh, yeah, for sure,
For
because
sure.
we're going to struggle the most.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the thing. Like, if we had taken either of the first 2, we could have made a game, but it wouldn't have been very
Yeah, it wouldn't have been compelling, I don't
compelling.
think. It
But
would
we
have been-
definitely could have done it.
Ew. No.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not even saying it. Go on.
Okay. Go on with what? I didn't have a thought.
Ugh.
Oh, boy.
I don't like this match 3 business.
So I'm trying to think of like ways we can spin it where it'd still be match 3, but that wouldn't be the entire game. 'Cause,
Right.
like,
And it's not like we have to stick to the rote grid puzzle match 3 garbage
right.
either. Like, it doesn't have to be.
Sorry.
Oh, no. What is it?
I'm starting to think of like plague themes.
Oh, no. That might be too real.
yeah, now
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
the time.
That's fair. This isn't the Black Death though, or
Yeah.
limbs falling off, or
Oof.
Doesn't
Oh, ew.
make it
Yeah.
much better. Anyways,
I.
Well, antiquity.
No, so like with it being match 3, like you don't have to necessarily make it entirely a puzzle game. It could be a game that happens to have puzzles in it or as a major game mechanic, but that doesn't.
Or you have to collect 3 of something in order to progress.
Right?
Yeah, you could just
that could be stretched that way too.
Excessively literal on it.
Okay. Hey.
Okay.
You have to construct keys with different parts of keys. Okay. And you don't know which parts go together until you solve puzzles. So I realized that you could absolutely go meta with the match 3 thing there, but you don't have to. It would be like, shit. Fuck this patriotism theme. It would have to be something political related.
Would it though?
Not necessarily.
I kind of think so. Or war. I don't want that.
I really hate to do this, but I'm actually going to look in a dictionary.
War has changed.
Time to get pedantic about
it is to see
Genesis.
how can we twist this so it's not weird nationalism.
Weasel our way out of that.
Devoted love, support, and defense of one's country. So, yeah, okay.
And national loyalty, which is that.
Right. But...
I don't know. It depends on which Metal Gear game you want to go with. Hi, Dusty.
Play us like a damn fiddle.
Turtle. Ooh.
Okay.
Now I'm wondering what a Metal Gear Solid game back in antiquity would be like.
Oh no!
Lots of rocks and sticks.
Solid Snake with a musket.
Oh no!
Ha. Okay.
I'm infected.
Oh no! With ye old steam-powered nanomachine.
But it could still have the cigarettes.
Of course.
Anyway,
match 3 start. Oh, Jesus, this is not great. Oh no, I'm not gonna go with that one.
Oh, but you have to.
Oh, I can't.
Oh.
My idea of putting keys together was
so like it was building off that. So it's putting keys together to unlock weapons to defend your country with, eventually leading up to weapons of questionable power, shall we say?
Okay, so
yeah,
the only way that I'm thinking of having like this much stuff going on in an antiquity kind of setting is like my brain just keeps going back to the History Channel Ancient Aliens BS and like
okay.
But like you could actually kind of do something like that, maybe.
Fucking Eternal Darkness though.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean the progression of
good
eras,
example,
right?
Yeah.
But also
that is antiquity, yeah.
Shit, what was the other thing I just thought of? Feck. Like Civ.
Okay.
Except in some sort of bastardized match 3.
Match 3 is really the tough one here. Like we bitch about patriotism here, but match 3 is actually kind of hard to get around.
Okay, well actually, how about we spin patriotism differently?
Okay.
How about we We do this from the angle of being revolutionaries and starting a country.
You're trying to establish a fleggling nation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can get with
sense.
that.
Yeah.
Which
so Civ the match 3 game.
Fuck you.
I mean...
Yeah. Well, it's not an RTS.
Well. You can get 3 units together and you got a stronger unit. Get 3 of those together, you got a stronger unit. Suddenly you got battalions in match 3.
Suddenly we're in a tower defense game.
Right? I mean, suddenly you're at risk or diplomacy or something like that,
match
right?
3 RTS. Yeah. There we go.
Okay, fine. That's the best thing we've come up with so far.
Right?
You have to
it's
come
not
up
bad.
with the troop formations by doing tile matching puzzles in order to win against the other army.
Oh, I hate this. Okay. So, okay. What you get for your battle is based on a match 3 memory game.
What?
What kind of resources you get to plan for a battle is
Well,
based
yeah,
on
but like, what do you
thing.
mean?
I don't
A
know.
match 3 memory, like a standard memory game. Instead of matching 2, you match 3.
Yeah.
Eh.
Okay.
I don't know. This thing sucks.
No, see, I'm thinking of like you do it like a top-down RTS, but like the tile game at the beginning is like your strategy or your troop formation, and then like how well you do at that timed tile game mini game determines how you're set up for the RTS segment. And then you play it out like an RTS, and then you go back to the, overview world map, and you decide where to do your next battle. And so you're like building your little nation over time by conquesting the surrounding nations. And so then you get the start small, you get the patriotism, you get the tile matching, you get antiquity, but it's not just a tile matching game.
I don't understand your tile matching thing.
Okay, so like you think of like a top-down or isometric like RTS. You have all your little troop units, and usually they're arranged on some kind of grid, and you're taking however many actions each turn to move them around and do stuff. So maybe you play a tile matching game at the beginning to decide how those troops are set up, I guess.
But what's a tile matching game?
Like the little troop units themselves become tiles, and you play a tile. I don't know. It's like half formed in my mind how that part works.
Okay,
but
so like
tile matching is another word for match 3. It's the same genre of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a visual example for this, but it reminds me of your like unit placement before you start.
I can see
it.
it.
That's what I was
fight or something.
trying to say. Is like you play some kind of tile matching mini game to set you up for the combat, and that determines how well your odds are going into it, I guess.
Or I can see it less as like strict tile matching and more like getting it over the course of the battle or encounter or skirmish or whatever, getting your units in such a place that you match them up and they become more powerful than the sum is more powerful than the parts or whatever, and then you eventually overwhelm the enemy like that, right?
Okay, if you really want a very liberal take on this.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we're totally spitballing here. Go for it.
We're making Fire Emblem Country Edition, which is most Fire Emblem games.
I mean...
What?
You're not wrong, are you?
So, most Fire Emblem games have a story of like, oh no, I'm a fledgling prince and I need to go back to my besieged kingdom or something. That's just bullshit a story. The setting can absolutely be antiquity because that's just how it be in most of those games. All of those games. Start small. Yep, cool. You can have your Radiant Dawn party of 3 that you start with Micaiah, Soth, and that other person I forget the name of.
Not important.
And there's your match 3. Ah, fuck! We're making Fire Emblem. Suck it.
So we're turning Fire Emblem into a match 3 game. Got it.
But that has the unit placement on tiles thing.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And like you could have melee, ranged, and magic user or something like that.
I mean,
perhaps.
I was thinking more RTS than TRPG, but it still
same,
works.
Same sort of rule set, just kind of differently themed, right?
Well,
Fire Emblem,
different scale, typically.
Yeah, also true, yeah.
Well, instead of being turn-based, I guess it could be RTS.
I mean, it could work as turn-based, too.
You could, or you have some kind of hybrid gameplay. That was my original thought, was like it starts with some kind of puzzling matchy thing and then transitions to RTS after that. But But TRPG mechanics might lend themselves better if you were trying to have the puzzling be part of the combat.
Right, yeah, I was almost thinking an advanced Warzy type thing, too.
Yeah, if that were the... If the match 3 cough were the traditional TRPG move throughout the map type of... Well, move throughout the map on a grid, fight things as you encounter them kind of fighting. And then, based on how far you can get in a certain amount of rounds, perhaps, would determine your battlefield placement and how fucked you were.
In the next round or turn, or the start of the next round or turn?
Or, yeah, maybe. I guess. Sure. Feels weak.
Like we're working with very little here. It's fine.
We are. I'm just really struggling to think of what the hell this tile game is that you keep talking about. I just don't understand that. Like, you keep telling me about, like, oh yeah, it's like an RTS, and I don't understand what a match 3 game is. Still.
It's a game mechanic more than a specific game, I guess. But I mean, it's kind of like a genre of puzzlers.
Okay, like, I understand that if you get 3 complementary colors next to each other, they disappear
Right.
or
So,
something.
like, this is the standard example of a match, like a strict match 3 puzzle game, right?
Sure.
We don't need to adhere to that necessarily, because that's
There's a lot of
honestly
different
boring.
ways to
But
do it. Yeah.
But I'm not sure what the context of what you were trying to explain is, because it doesn't sound anything like what that is.
I mean, it was kind of what that is, but not the same way. I don't know.
yeah, but it doesn't necessarily need to be strict grid rules either. Like, just
No.
having unit proximity could be considered match 3.
So this could be like form battalions kind of thing?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
For a grander scale, or what are the more modern Fire Emblems are like? These units perform better when they've got a strong relationship near each other, or something like that, right?
Yeah. But, like, okay, I like the idea because they're, like, small flanking teams or something like that. But, like, tactically speaking, wouldn't you just have them together to start with? Oh.
I mean, that's kind of the part of the puzzly nature, I suppose, of it, right? Is to get these units together as quickly as you can so they don't get wiped out, and so you can press the attack on the enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, so I'm starting to think of this, still in the guise of a tactical RPG, because haha, I'm gonna do that to you. But coming up with groups of 3 that are the most effective. So, putting 3 character classes together of characters that may actually be persistent, like they could be part of the story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And based on their effectiveness, and if they're able to not die, their bond between the 3 of them obviously grows over time. Their skill does as well. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is an interesting game mechanic. It's a tactical RPG, but instead of commanding individual units, you're commanding groups of units that are required to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And the match 3 part, if we're getting into the literal part of it, is your own prowess in combining these roles together with the stats they have, or whatever the case is, so that they can complement each other enough to not die. So, I guess that fits the bill,
It does, and then you kind of work up from combining individuals, now you're combining groups, now you're combining groups of those groups, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, sure.
And if they're the right... Well, I mean, you can make the decisions, obviously, but if you combine them in an optimal way, suddenly you've got this powerhouse of a group, battalion, war group, whatever, to go just smash the other fledgling nations and establish world dominance.
Or something.
Or something. Or world peace, you know. If you really want to confuse everybody.
So, like, I keep thinking of the story being more like how it was going from Path of Radiance to the very strong shift into Radiant Dawn, because you're basically flipping sides. It was Benyon versus, I can't remember the other nation.
So
But
regardless, kind of starting from very little, right?
starting from a position where everything's kind of fucked, and you and your two friends are the start of a small rebellion who are trying to fight their way to freedom or something.
Okay, so not at all related, semi going to derail things, but I just realized that Match 3 games also includes things like Snood and Bust a Move.
I don't know either of those things.
Puzzle Bobble is the US name for Bust a Move. Maybe you know
Still
that
haven't
one?
heard of that.
Okay, so it's the kind
field of objects. You shoot another object of the same color.
Yeah.
If that matches 3, it pops it off the field.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like Match 3, except it's you're shooting things at the top, and if it gets to the bottom where your cannon is, you lose.
Right. Well, I suppose
You're trying to like make combos of as many of the same type of thing as possible because it knocks them off the screen.
Puyo could be considered a match 3, match 4, whatever.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
I was trying to like research broader
Right.
definitions
than
of
just
match
the
3.
stupid.
Yeah. Bejeweled.
I shouldn't say stupid. It's very casual game-esque thing, like just very.
It's pattern matchy. Yeah.
Psychologically stimulating. When you see all the fireworks start going off, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I match more 3s and all that." Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm kind of surprised you don't know Snood though.
Never heard of it.
It was shareware on Mac OS in '96, and then it was released on DOS and Windows, and eventually GBA.
There was a GBA version.
There was a
of it?
GBA
Oh,
port,
shit.
yeah.
Wow.
That was always the one I played growing up, though. I mean, Dad was big into it.
Well, now you have me wanting to play GBA Fire Emblem games. So there's that.
You're welcome.
I mean, that still tracks with this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Fucking 3x2 though. A weird aspect ratio.
I mean, those screens are coming back, sort of.
I like weird aspect ratios. I don't know. Everything being 16:9 gets boring sometimes.
You're not wrong.
True enough.
All right, fine. You can have 8x9 for the Game Boy screen. There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's real great making a layout for that.
Wasn't that originally... Didn't SNES do something like that, too, with some weird, like, 7:8 or weird pixel ratios?
Yeah, it's fucked
I
up.
remember.
I have it written down in a notebook that I lost. Like, I did all of the math because like it actually stretches the pixels a little bit, and they're not square. It's weird.
That's weird.
It's never not time to consider GBA Fire Emblem. Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, but like along the same lines, it makes me want to go play the Japanese SNES Fire Emblems. Obviously in English. Anyway, yeah. Fuck, I really want to play Fire Emblem now.
All it took was us making a match 3 antiquity.
There you go. I mean, you solved your problem from earlier in the show of not knowing what to play.
Yeah. Fire Emblem is that kind of like special, casual, still stimulating game that makes me do the thinky think stuff. I like tactical stuff. MrBond is trying to make notes out of the shit that we've rambled.
Just like, how do I pull this out?
This one is really cranking it out. Yeah.
Puyo Puyo Civil.
Oh my god. Look, I'm gonna keep that as the title, all right? And if I remember to go change it later, I will. And if I don't, which I probably won't, it's staying.
At least we got a fantastic joke out of it.
Yeah.
I really want to reference Shuffleboard Heroes again. Such a good game.
Oh my god. I still got the picture for it.
Yeah.
I think Gods with Guns was still my favorite.
All right, I need to know what all those subtitles
Gods
were
with
again.
Guns. Oh, that was a recent one too, wasn't it?
It was like about a year ago.
At least
Was
a
it?
year, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I think that was while we were still in Tennessee. Maybe. Possibly.
I think it was
maybe before that.
Shortly after getting to Pflugerville.
No, that was in Tennessee. It was not.
You should be able to just use the search function.
Why? You gotta make sense like that.
GODZ.
Yeah. Probably 87.
Oh god, that's some time ago.
Yeah, here we go. So Dueling Deities, Bloody Hell, featuring Gods with Guns, part 3.5, Gods Gone Wild.
Once more for...
Okay, once more, a little more slowly so everybody can take this in. Dueling Deities, Bloody Hell, featuring Gods with Guns, part 3.5, Gods Gone Wild.
All right, and all of the plurals are Z's instead of S's.
Yes, correct. Except for Dueling Deities, although I'm going to change that to a Z.
Leave it.
Really? No.
Leave it.
I was going to change it to a Z.
I know, but
you want it just for the contrast?
we have to keep it there. It's on the record.
Okay, fine, whatever.
It's official.
It's a god game /
It's part of the lore.
God game / FPS as a theme of perception and tank controls for some reason.
Oh, that explains the gun part.
Why did we go with tank controls? I think by that time we were getting loopy or something. We just needed some way to finish it off.
That's an episode
gravy.
worth rewatching.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that'll inspire us to finish these notes, Koff.
I'm willing to call these notes finished, honestly.
we're good enough here.
Sounds
Yeah,
great.
honestly.
Cool. So graphic style is sort of top-down-ish.
Top-down isometric. Are we gonna
Yeah,
go with
why
that?
not? Let's
Yeah,
go with that.
yeah.
Okay,
Sure, whatever.
isometric-ish. Sounds good. Audio, I always fall down around audio style because it
Okay.
doesn't make a lot of sense to me to say what it is. But
Yeah, kind of just depends on the art direction
Right.
as an overall thing.
Just
Kinda has to
just
mature.
type in the words crunchy GBA instruments.
crunchy GBA.
There you go.
Can we
I'll do
include a
it.
Victrola as well since this is antiquity?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, all right.
Sure.
Crunchy.
I've heard that word before.
Crunchy GBA samples, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Like a Victrola.
There you go. Sounds delicious.
This feels like the kind of random crap that would be like a weird little game jam, like 15-minute,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
flash game type dealio.
Right. POV tactical RPG risk like overworld region / map traversal.
Inventory, shit you find on the ground. Or loot off of corpses.
Yeah, corpse loot sounds good.
Or
Spoils of battle.
/
Spoils of
random
war,
stuff. Yeah, there you go.
Corpse loot, spoils of war, captured bases, etc.
Why not? Sounds great.
Okay.
Delightful.
Just the best.
The mechanics move units together, combine same type or complement types to make them more powerful, overwhelm the enemy during skirmishes. The units work together, they get better bond, I guess, and they are more effective.
Yeah.
They work better together, right? The
Perfect.
objective is to build and establish a fledgling nation and increase strength from era to era.
Fine.
That works for me.
Sounds
I don't know, man.
great. We did it.
We did. See, look, you can never not say. You can never say we are not people of principle. We stuck to this third role. All
I
right.
was very tempted to suggest re-rolling that one.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know what it would have been.
Okay. So if we had been people of weaker ethics, we could have done this particular. Oh God.
Okay, I'm gonna need some explanation.
What is
All right.
4X?
Yeah, what
that
is a
is-
4X
that
game?
is a
I've
good-ass
heard of that
question,
genre
yeah.
before,
4X.
and it feels like
It's
something
not
that would go
4K.
in with strategy.
Explore, expand, exploit, exterminate.
Oh, that's
So,
exactly a strategy
That's
game.
extremely strategy. Yeah.
Everything is connected.
Yeah,
High
yeah.
fantasy switching. Fuck it, it's the game we just made.
I mean, more or less. Sans antiquity.
It's not high fantasy quite, but
not really switching of roles involved either.
Nah.
But
you can switch your unit types.
I
guess
by combining them in different ways, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about
it. I don't know. We got an okay-ish strong game out of the one we actually chose, so that's good enough for government work.
Especially in the case of Civil War.
Right? Puyo Civil War.
4X is just Civ. Like, Civ is 4X.
Like the popularization of it, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cool. We did it.
It's empire building, like, essentially, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay. Good job on Puyo Civil War, everybody. We did it.
Thank you for the title, Saxon.
Thank you very much, because that's usually the hardest bit. Although with that set of parameters, title might have been the easiest one.
Yeah, well,
That's right. Okay, well, we're coming to the end of insert credits here. Anything more we need to impart to folks? Otherwise, we can call it a night.
I'm going to go play Fire Emblem. That's about it.
Very good. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. I'm Mr. Bond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Vlad.
We'll leave off with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclock University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.